Aunty Karen. So we're going to get rolling with the show. There's quite a bit of snow coming down out there. Let me see if I find my weather info, so I'll break in for some weather here sometime soon. And in the meantime, I'm going to get into, hold on a second, I'm switching screens here. We're going to get into our introduction. And like I said, you're listening to the Karen Drift Anishinaabemoin radio show. And Mishkubanes and Deja the Cause, Onanami Zaagi'igining, and Mickey Z and Dundame, Nanamit Na Nan, Nibon, which here.
Supun bujing minawan nudin. Supun minawan nudin bujing. Snowing plus windy. Outside, I said. Buju nukumis indishinikas. Asabikone zaagi'igining dunjiba. Adik nidu dem. Nijwaswi ashi nijwaswi nibibunikis. I said I'm 77. Winter's old. Bibun, you see bibun in there. Giz nibun nibibun giz. And I was gonna talk. I write down so I don't forget what I'm gonna talk about. But I was gonna talk about medicines. I put my tobacco out this morning and told the spirits I was gonna talk about Mishkiki, Anishinaabemoin Indian medicine. And I was kind of remembering what I was showed. I can't I didn't have my nibish jaba, my tea this morning. Okay, what I was gonna talk to people about today was Anishinaabe Mishkiki. Mishkiki is medicine. And well, I grew up in a traditional home. I learned from my grandmother and the elders around me, my grandpa, my mother, my aunts, my uncles, other elders. They learned from other medicine men. And what I was thinking about was like you, in order to get Indian medicine, you have to go to an elder or a medicine man to ask for medicine. They can't come to you. It's just like the doctor. Doctors don't come looking for us. We have to go to see them. And you have to really believe in the medicine, when the work. If you don't believe in that way, then your medicine won't work. But like I said, I was like 6 years old. Even before that, I used to go with my grandmother into the woods. Even at night when they were going to do shake and tent ceremonies, they had to do it during the night. And she had an old lantern. I'd go with her. She would carry the lantern, and she'd take like a little hatchet with her, and she'd go cut down cedar branches, and she'd hand them to me, and I'd carry them back was about 7 years old. And that's because they used to put it on a ground, and we had like a cellar, like a big cellar, and they put that cedar down on the ground, and then they'd have their geese gone on top of cedar, and they use it a lot. They use it in funerals here, and just about that's good medicine for everything. Cedar, boiled cedar, dried cedar, and that's how I learned by her, and there was a lot of old what you call them, remedies that people used long time ago. I remember if somebody had like something that was pussy, like a sore or something under their skin, they used to use salt pork, and they'd put it on there and wrap it, and that salt pork would just suck that pus right out of that, wherever that was you were hurting. Another thing they used to use was a little bit flour, baking soda, and they'd make like a little dough, and they'd put like grease there so it wouldn't stick to your skin wouldn't. And that was what they used to put on to suck like pus out of something, like. And they used to, somebody had a cold sore, they used to use alum, ALUM, in a little bottle, and they'd mix it with cinnamon, and they'd boil it, just a very little bit, about a fourth of a cup, not even a fourth. And they'd boil that water and put alum in there, and then cinnamon, and then they would have to rinse their mouth out with that, just spit it out, and that worked, because I did that for some of my grandkids when they had cold sores. And I bet there's a lot of other remedies like that that I never heard about, and that were just the main thing. And another thing that was useful was there was a lot of impetigo when we were kids. Everybody had like sores, and my grandma used to use deer fat, where she keep a deer fat in a great big glass jug, and when she needed, she would go cut some off and put it in an old black skillet, and kind of like put it on the stove, and then let it melt, and then when it was kind of lukewarm, she'd put it on my cousin's chin where he had impetigo, and within a couple of days, his skin was just kind of pink there where it healed, where them sores were. But them are the ones I knew, and I like cedar, like dried cedar. That they use that for nukwaisagun. That's where you have a rock. Everybody should have a rock in their house that they heat up on stove, and then they put that cedar. It's just like a powder, and they let it, like, if that rock is so hot that cedar will just not flame up but smoke up, and that was for headaches. And I think that was the other part, that boiled cedar was for like when you had a bad cold or something with your throat, they would boil cedar, and then they'd put like a blanket over their head, and then they would like let it, till then if it cooled off, they'd heat it up again. And you can't just do that just for a little while. You got to do that like for at least 20 minutes for it to work. And you got to take it long, like they tell you, take this for maybe a week, drink this for a week, and you can't just drink one and say it's gonna cure you, but no, you got to take directions on. And I remember a long time ago, I had my uncle. He had polio and he was in bed. He couldn't move or nothing. His name was Spud, and he had a toothache. De wabede. That's how you say toothache. De wabede. And a long time ago, they couldn't, like, he was just stuck in bed all, and he was a tall man, and they couldn't. There was no dentists back then, and I remember my grandma put something in his mouth, and here it was some kind of a medicine that just ate away at that one tooth that was hurting him, and it ate right to the bottom, like, and I don't know what she did after that, if she just pulled it for him or what. I didn't ask her, or I just watched her give him it, and then my mom said that ate that in that tooth right to the, you know, yeah. Then there was some other kind of medicine that one of my cousins, she had eye problems. Her name was Ruth Strong. She was Robert Strong's daughter, my grandpa's half brother. And she said she couldn't even come out of a room. That room had to be dark, curtains on there. She said she couldn't be in the sunlight. And her mother went over to see Steve Benner, and he come back with her. They had some kind of medicine. They had an eye dropper or something, and she said they put that medicine in her eye. She said that just stung really bad, she was telling me. And then she had to do that in that dark room, put that eye medicine in her eye. And she said she did that like for about 3 days, and then she was feeling much better, she said. And then she come out of that room, and that light didn't bother her eyes at all. She said I was cured. She said I don't know what kind of medicine that was, or my mom probably knew. She said, but I never asked questions. She said, so there's a lot of medicines that in one, like I was telling you, was about my husband's cousin Bunky, called him, and he was going to get his toe cut off, and it wouldn't heal. The sore wouldn't heal. Doctor after doctor could never find nothing to heal him. And he said he called Lester, and he said, do you know of any kind of medicine? And he said, well, yeah. He said, I'll come out, because he couldn't walk. He said, I just can't walk. I can't make it anywhere. So he went out there and he got tobacco from Bunky and his wife, because she was going to help him. And so he come back, and me and him went out there and got some medicine in the woods. And we made it that we went and got lake water. And we made him like 3-4 gallons. And that Indian medicine has to be in glass. it can't be in like plastic or whatever, and it's got to be boiled in a certain pan. I still have that big pan that Lester made his medicine in, and we made him like four gallons, and we told him to soak your foot in there like 3 times a day, maybe 2 times a day, and we told him don't pour this down the sink. Don't. You go have Betty go pour it outside by a tree or in the woods somewhere, but put some sama down with that when you pour it out. Never put it down on, throw it down the drain instead of flush. So that's what he did. And then like in maybe a week, he was up and walking, his toe healed. And that was just from that medicine. We told him to soak his foot in. There he was fishing out on the lake, Falcon Lake. He even drove school bus all to the, the ore, and they had school in ore. But there's so many kinds of medicines out there. One of these days we might have to go back to that. I don't know, never know. But anyway, I was reading, and when I got married, I married into another uh, traditional family. That was Jesse and Jesse Trift and Rager. They were my in-laws. I learned a lot from them, a lot of medicine. Like, a lady came to see me with 2 of her daughters. I just knew what she was coming to, dreams. She was coming to me. So I gave her some medicine that my mother-in-law taught me what to do for my kids when they had nightmares. And I asked her if I seen her at the dollar store. I asked her, she said everything was good. I I gave him a bunch of stuff what to do with that, and she come gave me some tobacco. That's one of my relatives. So, and I said, since you're here, I said, I'll give you my medicine. I told her what to do and what to get and keep around her house in case that happened again. I said, you can do that yourself. And that was, I passed it on to her. She, my first cousin, but she's my little sister. So now I hope she keeps that medicine that I gave her. And when I show a medicine, then I give it to you. But you can't go give it to somebody else. They have to come to you if they, like there's after Lester, after his first cousin called us and we made him that medicine, and then somebody else tried to call Lester. It was a lady that she had zaagi'igining, and this medicine man told me not to say that disease in Indian, not in English. Zaagi'igining, a spider disease. You can just about figure out what that is. Anyway, she said she had cancer, and that zaagi'igining, she said, and do you know anything about medicines for that? And Lester told her, no, I don't know any. We don't know any kind of medicine for that. He said, you'll have to ask somebody that specializes in zaagi'igining. And there is certain people that do that. That it's just like a Wemtikushi Mishkiki Nini, like a white doctor. some specialize in bones, heart, all kinds of different diseases. And that's the way these medicine men are there. They do things about head. The Tiguan, the head, that's head, Tiguan. Headaches and that. And they have like bones. They have like other, other things. And Harry can tell you about what happened with him when he was playing basketball in Orr. He hurt himself. He hurt his knee, and he was kind of like he was a good baseball basketball player. Me and Lester were there at the game. We went to all our grandsons' games there, even our sons when they were in school, Ethan, Mark, and Lester. And we went to their games, and Harry was just, his knee was just really paining. And he come and he come sat by us, and he said, "Oh, his grandpa, my knee, it's just hurting really bad. I don't know if I can go back out there and play." And it was like halftime, and so Lester told him, "Come with me, come with me," he said. So they went somewhere, and I was sitting waiting on a wheelchair. And here Lester took him somewhere, out where nobody was. And he did some kind of a ceremony right there in Orr. And here when Perry came back, he said, "Grandma," he said, "my knee don't even hurt anymore, nothing," he said. "Grandpa cured it," he said. So he was out there playing. So he knew a lot of medicine, I suppose, from his mom and dad. But he told me some of them before he passed away, but I still remember some of them that he gave me. So between us, we knew a lot of medicines. And then all the old, I learned from the Medewi ladies that were around, like my Uncle Bill. There was just so much. My Uncle Louis, he knew medicine for bleeding. He told us a little bit about the medicine. It's from a pawpaw tree. He used to use it. So there's a lot of medicines out there. They're even from animals. We get them from I had to go to Pete Isham and his son-in-law, his ex-son-in-law. He was a game warden. What's his name? That game warden that's here. Pete Isham's son. He was
Tony Mason.
Tony Mason. Yeah, I had to. The medicine that I was making was calling for some a mick beaver, something on a beaver. So I called them, and Pete, I think, bought me that mick, a mick beaver, some kind of a castor, some part of the body of the beaver anyway. And that's the part I had to use for my medicine that I made. And that was for a new gun. That's where you burn it on a rock, and it smolders up. And I used to right away in the springtime, zaagi'igining, my grandma would be out there at the table. She'd be working on the zigog. Zigog is a skunk. She'd be taking that where he he does that the smell, skunk smell.
Mm-hmm.
She'd take, I don't know, how did she ever get it uh, without it, how would you,
Like rupturing it, or
yeah, or letting it, all that smell come out.
well, it's
But
like a little
yeah,
bag.
yeah, and that's what she would take out of that skunk, that bag, and she'd hang it on the eave of the roof at her house in Strongville. And I used to ask questions then. I said, "What? How come you do this?" She said, "It takes away sicknesses." She said, "Opposite go away." Anishinaabe, she said, "Go in the opposite. They won't get sick." And I always remembered that. It stuck to me. And me and Lester would be riding in a car. I'd say, Nikki be Jamondan Jigog, I'd say. I smell a skunk. And I'd roll down my window, and that smell, I'd kind of like whip it up really, you know. And he'd never do that, just me. I'd do that when I'd smell skunk. I'd stick my head out the window as long as I could smell it. And that's what I think of my grandma, how she would clean that skunk and get the bag out and hang it up. And that's another one that I learned.
Did you know that perfume makers, they use that as to kind of start all their different perfumes?
No.
Yeah, they use that to start out. It's like a base or something like that.
Mm. I bet there's some more medicines, Indian medicines from Chicago and the skunk.
Oh yeah.
Because there's medicines from like even a deer.
Mm-hmm.
We use that deer fat for in tiger stores. We use uh, we use the deer hoofs. They if you see a dead deer on the side of the road, we always picked up the bones after they were all there for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we picked these bones up by this guy. He was making shishigun, some cans of shake
Mm-hmm.
with like a rattle.
Yeah.
He'd make them, and he said he'd crush them bones, and that he'd put them deer bones in that can, and that was the shishigun. That's what they called that. And he'd always tell us, if you see bones on them, if you see a dead deer on the side of the road, bring me the bones. Put them in a bag. So that's what we did. And yeah, they used deer like they used it for the hide. Just to make clothes, everything, medicine and clothes, and wawashkeshi wiyan. That's deer hide. Wawashkeshi wiyan. Even a mikwiyan they used, muskrat, ushashkwiyan, muskrat hide, and moose hide, everything. All the animals were used for something or medicine. And let's see, I was writing things down as uh, like as a child, I've seen a lot of medicine made by my grandma. And my grandpa too, he was a good, I remember Callie, that was that horse. He was kind of wild, and he he had his mother's name was Big Queen. They called her Big Queen. Well, she was going to have a baby in the spring, and here during the winter they must have worked her too hard, so she was having like a miscarriage or something. I could see my grandpa and his sons, Louis, Herbert, J.S. They were all three of them, and with my grandpa. They were monkeying around in the barn, and they were rushing around making boiling something in a tub. And I asked my mom, I said, "Oh, what are they doing? She said, they're making medicine for Big Queen. She's gonna lose her baby, her little colt, or she said she's bleeding." And so they must have got done. It was still after 10 when they started, and they were still about midnight. I was trying to stay up, and they were still. Then finally, I must have got too sleepy, so I went to sleep, and I woke up that next morning, and I asked my mom. I said, "Is Big Queen gonna lose her baby then?" And my mom said, "No, Grandpa and them stopped. They gave her medicine. Now she's okay. She ain't bleeding anymore." And I never asked. Oh, I could ask, what was that? What did they? But no, that was lost medicine. Nobody.
Hmm.
But must have made her drink it or something while they were boiling it in a big, kind of like a big kettle. Then my grandpa cured of one Taguchi Nini, a white man that was burnt. My grandpa cured him, and that's how my grandpa got that big flatbed truck that they drove. That white man gave him that truck just for. He was so grateful to our grandpa for healing him. And there's a lot. We lost it. That's what I said. Maybe someday, I said. And there's a lot that I was writing down. We get them. We get medicines from animals, roots, different trees, bark from trees, the lake, cedar, pitch. That's from them trees that have them blisters, and when you just poke them, and then and even beehives are medicine. If you find a beehive that's not, there's no bees in there, they say that's a medicine beehive. And I know what that medicine is for, beehive. And then there's a lot of medicines down by the rivers, and then there's a certain direction that you have to pick the medicine, like we were told, zaagi'igining, we gotta pick it from the south side of the tree. And there's like berries, like strawberry roots, there's blueberry leaves, and even blueberries. They tell us what not to eat when a lady's pregnant. They say don't. They used to tell us we can't have blueberries although while we're pregnant. And you know, and like branches, like apple. Jesse was telling us about they used to drink like juice out of a popple tree. I don't know.
I suppose in the spring, like right now, when trees are running.
Yeah. You'd say when the kids they would drink.
Yeah, they say you can tap the other trees. I think Dale was talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
He was asking, I don't remember who he was asking. He was asking if they ever drink birch. tasted birch
Oh, yeah.
sap.
Yeah, so that's what she must have been drinking. Coffee.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like another, yeah, birch, even birch bark is a medicine.
Mhm.
They used to chew it up. And that apple, your grandpa used to chew apple up and, put it, just chew it up. And then when someone was bleeding, he just
Put it right on there.
put it right on there, yeah.
Hmm.
And I suppose there's a way you could chop it up too with a rock,
Yeah.
but this one, someone was bleeding too hard, he had to do it right away, so he chew it.
I saw that in a movie once.
Yeah, you come running out the woods, you see in woods, there's different, all different trees. Like JS called me and Clara into his house and he gave us some medicine. He said, you gotta, you go get a pin cherry tree in a white choke cherry tree bark, all bark, and a hazelnut tree. All three of the different barks. He'd say, he told us, boil it, go use lake water. He always said, use the lake water. That's a powerful water, it's a powerful lake. And he said, boil it in there and then cool it and then strain it or something. Take it, he said, that you got high sugar. That'll take your sugar down. That's what I said. They have to come to you for medicine. You can't go to them
Mhm.
in order to learn it. And there's a lot of, and then there's dreams. Some people. This I think I told this story before about this grandma that brought up her granddaughter when they were gone. That her parents got killed anyway, in in some, I suppose, a war or something long time ago. This her granddaughter started getting sick, and they couldn't find a cure for her. And the grandma was pretty old. She was taking care of them. The little girl was like maybe 9, 10 years old, and said she was gonna in their book she was gonna die. Here that old lady died. That old lady died. And here she died just for a little while, not too long. Here she come back. She come back alive, but come back, and she went out into the woods and she went and picked something in the woods. Here that dream must have told her to go get this medicine, and she made it right away and she gave it to her granddaughter, and her granddaughter got better, and she wasn't gonna die anymore. Then about a month later, then that's when the old grandma really in the bush, she really passed. So in dreams, and I I can't remember if that was Joanne or somebody that was telling. They said when she got really sick, somebody come after her and took her away and brought her back. Then she was well again for a long time. They must have took her and just did, while she was on her deathbed or something. They took her and cured her, so she got well in the hospital, you know. And one night I was dreaming of across from, and I was dreaming of where Pete and them live now, Carrie. And think that's a really spiritual place there, because Pete said he didn't want to get rid of that tree because Walter was the one that planted it, but I think they had to get rid of it. It ain't there no more. Anyway, I was dreaming that acorns were falling from that tree, big bunch of acorns. And there was a bunch of squirrels there eating. They were eating them acorns. And I was thinking when I got up, if squirrels could eat acorns, we can do. So there must be something in that that's a medicine.
Well, I know bears can eat them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're got a lot of fat in them, so it helps them kind of bulk up for the winter.
Yeah. It's not like how these bears can go all winter without food,
Right? They know what to eat anyway
Yeah.
when it's out there and
Yeah.
available.
That's what they used to say. The old Indians followed a bear to watch the bear. What yeah, Jean gave us some medicine too. Jean Good Sky. He gave us that God gave book. Billy Blackwell gave us a lot of his medicine. Jesse and can't remember if anybody else, but I was writing things down about all the different diseases or sicknesses. And when they do that, a really strong medicine man can do non-dway. That's what they call it. They work with them bones,
Mm-hmm.
them bones, and you can
Oh,
see.
the evil bones.
Yeah, and they can see things like an X-ray. They can see in your body what part is what's bothering you. And they can pull things out of your body, like I told you when they did that non-dway for Lester, Canada, that they pulled a bunch of subcachiinapine went out of his lungs, and it was all little black dots, little tiny like soot was floating around in that white water, and that's what they pulled out. They pulled out, and another one, another thing. Lester had a very bad headache. He was having really. So we went to a medicine man in Canada, and we had him do. And he was blowing on his head, and he pulled like a little snake out of his head. But somebody did that to him. They were using bad medicine or something.
Yeah.
And that's, they pulled it out, and he didn't have headaches anymore. Nowadays, I don't think anybody around here knows any bad medicine.
I don't know. I know there was well, I don't think he was like bad, but he just didn't know what the whole ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
So when he went ahead and tried to do something for somebody, made it backfired or made it worse.
I know Jesse told Lester, because Lester had a drinking problem when he was 34, and he asked his mom, he said, why didn't you tell me all this medicine? He said, she's told him, she said, I was never going to tell you anything while you were drinking or drunk. She said, you probably would have tried to did something and it would have backfired on you or your family. So I never told you anything until you sobered up. You know, the really medicines that nobody should do with them. All that. So I never told you because you were drinking. She said, you were drunk. Baby.
Yeah.
And that's prayers too. I do a lot of prayers for people, like, and you could tell that time my cousin burned. Remember Sarah? She burned in Tower.
Yeah.
She burned bad, and somebody called, and they wanted to smoke his pipe. Then he he got out everything, and he was gonna get ready, and right away he started putting everything back in his bag and stuff. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "She's gone already. She left. She's not here. Here she passed away that fast." And somebody told him to put your stuff away. She left. So that's what he did. And I noticed I was doing, like, somebody asked me to say a prayer. I didn't do it, but they asked me. I was asked. So I did this. I talked, and then I burned some sage, cedar, and tobacco, all three of them together. And the first time I did that, the, the when it's burning, it went straight up. This perfect. It went straight up. So I told my son, I said, she's gonna be okay. I said, the smoke went way up nice. And then she got okay. Now he called again. He said, she's back where she is again. She's not doing too well. So, but he didn't ask me to say a prayer or smoke my pipe or burn cedar. And so I didn't, because nobody asked me to. But since I liked that lady, she was a good friend when we were young, and I liked her. I talked with her and everything, and so I smoked my pipe and burned cedar, and I talked and asked the spirits to help her out, and my smoke went okay for a while. Then it went funny. My smoke went funny, so I don't know what's gonna happen. So it told me that she's gonna be okay for now, but after that, my smoke was going to every which way, this way and that way. It wasn't going straight up. But prayers can tell. Yeah, that other old reminder that I had was you gotta put it in glass only. Use lake water. If you can't use lake water in the winter, you can use spring water, but never,
Never run out of the tap.
no, never, or never throw it back down in the toilet or sink. If you want something from an elder, you have to give Sama and Bukitchigan. If you want a medicine or a teaching, whatever, it has to include a ceremony. And I know there's other stuff that I forgot, and there is some other stuff that I forgot, and but I don't know. I can't remember. It's back there, like all these old words been coming back to me. Like I don't know if you remember that saying, what Geenie Doug. Do you ever remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Like someone say, "Hey George,
Mm-hmm.
get you me sud." You'd say, "Geenie Doug." You'd say, "Hey George, you got a big belly," and you'd say, "Geenie Doug yourself." You know. And there's another one. I remember Johnny and Jack. They were John Strong. And his really name was George, but Johnny and Jack Burnside. They were them songs of Louvin brothers, and they called them Johnny and Jack. Oh, Jack Burnside, he used to say, "Huh, Neen." Yeah, the Neen is me.
Mm-hmm.
Like he do something good,
Yeah.
and that's when he'd say, "Huh, Neen."
That's me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lot of stuff that the old people used to used to
Used to
say.
tease each other.
Yeah. Should we get a little break?
Yeah, we can take a break. It's already 11. You're listening to the Karen Drift language radio show right here on KBFT. I'm going to run through some weather for you guys. Currently outside is the latest.